they were outraged. And the general told him that the Pentagon guys said they were gearing up for something in 2016, but they wouldn't tell him what, and told him a couple of other things on the side. And so I thought you guys would be interested in that.
That's very interesting. Is that online anywhere, or is that this is just a story from your son?
Well, no, that's just a story from my son and the guys that, they had to go over there. So the guys from his platoon that came back with him, and they were outraged. He's trying to get a copy from somebody, so we can send it to you guys.
Yeah, a copy or even a shot on a cell phone, anything like that. Anytime something like that pops up, you need to immediately shoot that on your smartphone and send it to tips@infowars.com or whistleblower@infowars.com. And I comb through those regularly, and I love to receive the tips. I mean, I've received some outrageous stuff, some stuff that we haven't even gone public with yet because we have to vet it first because it's so outrageous. But, Roy, thanks for the call. We're going to be back right after this with more of your questions. It's the Alex Jones Show, and I'm your host, Rob Dew, Infowars.com.
Using unparalleled research in the development of a synergistic formulation based around the key concepts of super oxygenation, the next level in cleansing is here. With key ingredients backed by real clinical studies, the new Oxy Powder, available through InfoWars Life, was invented during Dr. Group's research on the toxification of our bodies. Many herbal colon cleansers are harsh on the body and contain cheap and potentially dangerous ingredients, oftentimes full of synthetic fillers, GMOs, additives, or worse. Gently start cleaning your body with easy capsules that start working while you sleep. Oxy Powder does not require time off work, and there's no need for bad tasting concoctions. Instead, Oxy Powder slowly releases monoatomic oxygen into the intestinal tract and body. Experience the astonishing cleansing power of superoxide and ozonide technology. Go to InfoWarsLife.com or InfoWarsStore.com to get started with Oxy Powder, or call 1-888-253-3139.
In the near future.
When you realize how fake it all is, the football, the basketball.
Alert. Security alert. This is Homeland Security. Analysis. InfoWars building independent media operation.
You let the worst people get control and tell us that we are the ones responsible.
Prime directive. Discredit Alex Jones.
Jones is the wildly popular conspiracy theorist.
It's a popular conspiracy theory talk show called InfoWars.
Alex Jones is now in an Austin jail.
These people are assaulting us.
Targeting of patriots engaged.
They are never going to stop. They're never going to deviate from their program until we stop them.
Block free iPhone app at Infowars.com. Block free podcast and video feed. Imperative. Destroy Prison Planet TV.
You gotta set your eye on the enemy, not worry about what propaganda they put out. Intellectually, it's begun and you can feel it.
Another major health threat, this one in Toledo, Ohio, where everybody in the entire city has been told not to drink the water.
Ohio's governor declaring a state of emergency.
Did you know that the average person uses about 80 to 100 gallons of water at home every single day? If there's a water emergency, will you be prepared?
Panicked residents forming long lines throughout the day.
We're here at a supermarket in Toledo. You can see the shelves empty where water once was.
To stay safe and healthy during a crisis, you must have access to safe, clean water. Water which will not be available at your local grocery store.
There's a mad dash on right now to stock up on supplies.
The ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system is a must-have for every modern, independently minded household. Protect your family's safety during an emergency. Go to InfoWarsStore.com today to purchase your ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system or call 1-888-253-3139.
When you're out on the road, the last place you want to be is on the road. But if the unfortunate happens, you'll be glad you were wearing diamond gussets.
There's a place down in Tennessee where they make blue diamond gusset jeans. They so pride in every stitch, guarantee you'll love the way they fit. They put a diamond gusset in the crotch where you need it most. Blue diamond gussets got it, others don't.
we turn jeans inside out. Diamond Gusset Jeans. Made in the USA with unparalleled quality. Our Defender motorcycle jeans combine gusset comfort with Kevlar protection, so you can ride all day with confidence. Order yours at gusset.com. Diamond Gusset Jeans got it. Others don't.
Coast to coast, direct from Austin. You're listening to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
Crashing through the lies and disinformation. It's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
All right, we're going to go right back to your calls. We got Rashid, O'Brien, Paul, Peter, Habu, Mark, Jim. Toll-free number to join us, 877-789-ALEX, 877-789-2539. I promise I will let Paul answer some of these questions. I've been hogging the callers, and I apologize for that. But we're going to keep going here, and this is the Alex Jones Show. I'm your host, Rob Dew. Rashid, Philadelphia, what is your question, sir?
I don't really have a question. I just wanted to mention something that I don't know, seemed interesting last month.
Speak right into your phone, please.
The first week of August, I watched 12 Monkeys for the first time, and that seemed kind of interesting that the whole Ebola thing was being hyped at that same time. So, I don't know.
You don't think it was your watching of 12 Monkeys that caused it, do you?
I don't know.
No, I doubt it. That
was a weird coincidence.
Well, you know, 12 Monkeys does have a lot of interesting stuff. And what's interesting as well is I watched that movie just recently this year, and we started making a promo on it, and we kind of got put on the back burner, and I'm going to pull it back out this week and finish it up. Because, yeah, there was a disease out there, and people thought it was having to do with these the army of the 12 monkeys, and it ended up just being a crazy person who actually worked in a lab, a biolab, went around infecting the world. And so they had to send a guy, Bruce Willis, back in the past to help find out how it spread. That was their big thing. Paul, do you have any comment on the movie 12 Monkeys and how it relates to Ebola?
That's one that I've never seen, actually, Rob. I always intended to see that one, but never got around to it. But on the previous call, this army drill with the CDC targeting, quote, zombies, that was based around an epidemic. I mean, the quote from the article was, trainees will have to respond to medical emergencies while being harassed by zombies. So this zombie thing, they used it as a cover to get people interested, but it was actually all based around a pandemic scenario where they would have to deal with huge numbers of people. So very concerning indeed. And then again, on the caller after that, in fact, Jim Garrow, who we had on as a guest quite recently, he exposed another one of these surveys where the army are asked if they will be willing to fire on Americans. And those surveys have been taking place for at least 2 decades. We've reported on them numerous times. And he actually had a gun, an illegal gun planted at his home in Canada, went to prison for a while for it. So he claims he was targeted for releasing that information that an army, a service member in the army told him that they had been given a survey questioning whether they would fire on Americans. So this is something that keeps on cropping up again and again, has done for at least 2 decades or more.
So, Paul, maybe it does make sense that the DOD is getting involved in Ebola. Maybe they are going to be part of this eradication program where they cordon off areas, and when people try to get out, they're just going to mow them down with machine gun fire. So maybe that does make sense, even though people are saying it doesn't make sense over on Fox News. That's Lucas Tomlinson who wrote that. And but yeah, General Martin Dempsey said the Department of Defense #1 priority is combating Ebola. Right there, combating Ebola. So maybe it does make sense that they're having these, and by 2016, you know, we just had a caller, his son was getting training in Idaho, and there was Pentagon reps there and a 2-star general, and it was asking people, you know, would you confiscate guns from Americans? Would you fire on Americans? And some of these guys will do this. I don't think a lot of them will. I think they're going to be very surprised at the response they get from our military. But you know, I mean, you can see what happens in any of these situations. Ferguson, you know, the cops start firing on people, firing tear gas on people. Nobody steps up and says, wait a minute, should we be doing this? These people are unarmed. You You know, maybe we should just go after the people who are looting, the people who are causing the trouble, identify those people and go in and get them. If you're a protester, you're not going to go attack the police until they start attacking you, or if you're infected with some sort of weird pandemic. You know, what are your thoughts on that, Paul?
The fact that they're merely asking the question, will you fire on Americans, is concerning enough. Then, of course, you've got the report which recently came out where the army is saying they're not prepared to fight the future combat arena, which will be the main arena of combat, quote, mega cities, including New York City was one of them mentioned in the report. So they're gearing up the army to be stationed in occupying and combating insurgents, anti-government extremists and others, and under medical emergencies was one of the other scenarios in mega cities within the next 20 years. So then you can tie that back to the concerns about Ebola victims going to highly populated cities like Mexico City, for example, or indeed Paris, because there are many African immigrants in France that go back and forth between these West African countries. So, I mean, that is the concern, that an Ebola sufferer would land in a major city and it would spread more rapidly because these Western African countries are quite sparsely populated. Of course, Africa is a huge continent in comparison to these mega cities where it could spread very much more quickly and to a more devastating effect.
Totally agree. Well, our next caller is O'Brien. O'Brien, what is your question?
Yes. Basically, if the State Department is going to be buying all this hazmat gear for their diplomats, wouldn't they need to be? Wouldn't the CDC need to do that as well?
Well, I bet the CDC probably has a lot of this stuff. Who knows whether it needs to be upgraded after time, but that is interesting. Paul, what do you think? Why does the State Department need this stuff?
I don't know whether they would then hand it on to the public health authorities. That's what I'm assuming would happen, but I mean, I was astonished by the sheer number of it, 160,000. I'm sure they've already got a lot of them in supply and stock already. So, but you know, they did the same thing with the potassium iodide pills after Fukushima. So they make sure that they're prepared while the vast majority of Americans are not. I mean, they rolled back some of those previous measures in the context of nuclear power plants where people who lived nearby were given adequate supplies of potassium iodide pills. So, you know, they're concerned about themselves, not so concerned about the American people, it seems, when they make these large-scale purchases. Whether they're actually going to foresee a pandemic event is unknown, but they're definitely going to be prepared for it.
If there is a Titanic-like event, I think the government will be the first ones into the lifeboats, and then it'll be women and children and the rich. And if you're not one of those people, you're going to have to fend for yourself. You're going to prepare, you know, which is why one reason it's good to know what colloidal silver does for your body. I'm just going to do this for a quick plug. Silver Bullet is one of the InfoWars Life family of, I guess, health remedies that you could use for yourself. You know, I use colloidal silver a lot personally. And one thing, I also make a lot of it. And one thing I do with the Silver Bullet is I take it and I mix it in with my batches that aren't as strong. This is a 30 parts per million strength, which is very strong. And that's harder to make in your home laboratory. But I make about 10 parts per million, and then I add that in. Anytime I get a sniffle or anything, I shoot it up my nose, breathe it in, and that's what I do. You're welcome to do what you want with it, but Silver Bullet available at InfoWarsLife.com. You can use that information as you will. We're going to be back with more calls, and then we're going to finish up the show, the little NFL worship news for all you people out there watching the ball games today. And I think we'll finish up also with a quick chemtrail video that came across our way. We posted it on Friday. We're going to tell you what it all means. It's Infowars.com. It's the Alex Jones Show. I'm your host, Rob Duke. Stay tuned.
General, what do you think about the FBI saying that there's a terror alert on Monday about a potential Fort Hood situation?
The police are shoving people, shoving Alex, shoving the crowd.
Here we go, folks. I'm being assaulted.
Whether it's the radio show, the news websites, documentary films, or the nightly news, InfoWars is the tip of the spear.
Is this another false flag stage attack to take our civil liberties and put more homeland security on sticking their hands down on the pants on the streets?
It's up to us to set brush fires in the minds of men and women everywhere. And that's what PrisonPlanet.tv is designed to do.
You watch the Assad
Assad regime is going to be blamed or accused of using chemical weapons against the so-called rebels.
What we see now is a war against reality. It's a war against the truth.
It's more vital than ever that supporters of freedom become members of PrisonPlanet.tv and share their